Hello, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com and Chucky Chuck in Aruba. Man, what a life you live. I'm going to show you how I cut prescription lenses for your RayBan. What are these? These are the RayBan 4115 color 601S, and it is a 59 eye size. I know you need some wrap. These are some great sunglasses, and you will need them in Aruba. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop out your original demo lenses, like this one that says RayBan on it, as all RayBan ones do. I'm going to set those aside, and I'm going to trace your Italian frame in my Italian edger. This is a Santinelli LE1000 patternless edger. Runs $30,000. I recommend everyone go out and get one. Actually, here's the unique thing. It is not tracing. It is having problems because of the curvature of the frame. So what I'm going to do, let me hit stop. I'm going to trace one side. Here's a unique teaching moment. I'm just going to trace the right lens, and then I'm going to type in your frames PD, which is short for pupillary distance. People have them, and so we just assign the same nickname to frames. I'm going to pop one lens back in so I can measure properly. And I start at the inside of this lens and I measure to the outside of the other. And I am getting 75, which is 59 and 17. Let me try this again. Let me just measure twice. Measure twice, cut once. 75 it is. So we're going to pull up this shape on the computer. Frame PD of 75. Put in your pupillary distance of 64. This is a polycarbonate lens, been cut for a plastic frame. Now you chose, of course, you get free prescription lenses with the purchase of a frame. You upgraded to the transition, and your prescription is -3, -1 at 10. Of course, I've got the lowest price on transition and or anti-glare. -3. Let me put a few dots on your lenses. I'm spinning this around in my Marco 101 lensometer to find your optical center. Check everything, get everything lined up perfectly in the crosshairs of my scope. I'll put a few dots on there so you can see what I am doing. And this is the right lens. I will do the same thing for the left, which is -275, -150 at 174. Let's spin this to 174. -275. Spin that. Find the sphere power. Check your astigmatism correction. Pull back. Put some dots on the lenses. 1 dot, 2 dot, enough for me, and a left. Just out of curiosity, here we go. We're going to see if this will cut out. It may not. I may have to do this manually, but I am going to try. Let me line this up. Put the sticker on and see if this is going to trace. I may actually have to go old school and do this manually. This will be another good teaching moment if it does. So the LMU is going to come down and trace the shape of your frame onto the lens to see if this is large enough to cut out. Ooh, and just barely. I thought I might have to go old school and decenter everything manually. I may still have to. Let's see what it does on the other side. It is tracing the concave side of the lens first, and now it's tracing the convex side. The concave side is closest to your eyelashes. It is. The cutting wheel is actually down here on the bottom. The cutting wheel itself is the one here on the left, which is lighter color. This wheel in the center is what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the frame. Let me go ahead. Actually, I'll let you see as it comes down and strikes the cutting wheel. Strike one. Cut, 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 cut. It's going real slow. We're getting there. We're getting there. Now, let's block up the left lens. I have a little double-sided adhesive sticker. The black side is the sticker. Once I peel this away, it shows that. That's what is holding it onto the lens. I'm putting the sticky side on that. I peeled this off and then stuck this onto your left lens. Now you are getting the polycarbonate photochromic lenses. You get free single vision prescription lenses when you buy the frame. You paid the $45 to upgrade to transition, and that's all you paid. The frame itself is $90. The upgrade to transition is $45, so you've got a total of $135 in here. So you'll have a clear lens on one side and sunglasses on the other. No, of course you'll have clear on both sides. They will turn into sunglasses when you go outside. Now you are receiving the polycarbonate lenses, which are 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They are virtually unbreakable, and they are bulletproof up to .22 caliber and has both UVA and UVB protection. It is an aspheric lens, meaning it's flatter than a spherical lens, which gives you the fishbowl look, which nobody likes. It's a flatter curvature, so cosmetically it looks like a much better lens. It is a high quality lens. That is what I start with and go up from there. Every other company online makes you buy the plastic for what you paid in the transition, and then if you want polycarb, they charge more for that. If you want an aspheric polycarb, they charge even more, and then they charge you for transitions and anti-glare, and before you know it, they're just as high as your doctor's office. I signed a contract with RayBan that I would never undercut the prices they tell me to sell them at, because I risk losing the line if I do. So I sell the frames at what they tell me to, but I give away single vision lenses. They love that. You never hear me complaining about the frame price. Everyone tries to discount the frame and make as much money off the lenses. Since I am a lab man and you see me cutting my own lenses, I can afford to do this. Most optical shops are just middlemen. They take the measurements, they have someone else do the work, tell you to come back in 10 to 14 days, and they tack on their middleman fee. If there's ever a problem with your prescription or anything else, they mail them back and tell you to come back again in another 10 to 14 days. I can fix everything in 15 minutes. That's how long it takes. It is now 7:56 on Wednesday, February 26, 47 degrees in Durham, North Carolina, at least according to my Samsung Gear watch. You had a little bit of rough edges there, so I used my hand stone to put a safety bevel on there. I am scraping away any excess polycarb. We'll drop it on the counter, wipe it on the floor. That's the fun part. This is how the clown entertains himself. Dry the counter off. So I'm going to make sure that this fits now. I'm going to take your lens and tuck it in at the outside corner and then push down at the nose. And snap, it goes in. Although, can you notice how this one is straight and this one curves out wider? That is because this lens is still big. It's putting the torque on the frame. So I'm going to pop this back out, and I'm going to take your lens down 1/10 of a millimeter so it does not make the frame torque outward like that. Let's see, like that and like that. That's the way it was shaped. So, although you can see for yourself. See how this is straight and the other one forced it to do that? Let's fix that so your frame fits well. Now, speaking of fit, 99% of all optical shops do free adjustments if you ask them. So if this frame is too loose or too tight or crooked, just go to your local optical shop, ask if they do free adjustments. If they do, you're set. It should take about a minute if they know what they're doing, less than a minute. It'll take me days, although I will do it for free if you give me a place to stay in Aruba. I've never been there. They tell me it's nice. Polycarbonate lens is cut dry. It's only at the very end it gets this little bath where it washes away any optical sawdust, known as schwarf. Although hopefully the camera is good enough, you can see a little bit of white schwarf right there on the temporal part of the lens. Alright, ADD world, I'm bored. Let's see if it fits now. I'll take it down by hand if I need to, just to speed things up, because I still got several more pair I got to cut tonight before going home. I got an anniversary this Saturday and I cannot be late. I cannot anger the wife. It's going to be a very expensive and costly anniversary if I come home too late tonight. Okay, let's try this again. Start at the outside corner. In fact, here's a good demonstration. See how this is U-shaped? I'm going to tuck this in now. Press in. Much better, much better. So let's do the left side now. Whoops, 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 whoops. Put this in, hit left, and start. This is the same procedure you saw before. This is just a mundane routine operation it does every time before it cuts. Comes down and traces the shape of the lens to make sure it is large enough, which it barely is. There are tricks of the trade where I can get this to cut out, is the term. I can lay out manually. I'm having the computer do the work now. But in the old days, you would actually move the lens depending on where the PD is and cut manually. Now I'm going to take this block off and go ahead and use this time to inspect and read the prescription off the right lens and make sure everything is perfect. So it is -3, -1 at 10. Where's 10? Somewhere on this number wheel from 1 to 80 is 10. 0 to 180, I should say. Put this in my Marco 101 lensometer. Spin the axis wheel. I'm getting -3, -1, perfect. I will test the pupillary distance in a minute. Chucky Chuck, Chuck Chuck in Aruba. Yo, Chucky Chuck. How tan are you? How loving. How you must just love life. I want you to see it is 47 degrees at 8 p.m. It's probably 80 degrees down there. In 1974. What is the time difference? Is it 1974 there? This is the outside of the lens near the temple. This is the nose. If you notice, it's completely flat all the way around, like a nickel. It could almost stand up on its own. And now it's going to put the bevel on the lens so it stays inside the frame. A little bit of an optical bath, which reminds me I need to take a bath. What year is this? 2014? Yeah, I definitely need to take a bath. But the Santinelli Edger does not, so I'm going to close the door and keep it dry because my $30,000 worth of electronics does not like getting wet. Speaking of which, I am prone to losing my iPod. This is the second time I've lost it. I usually lose it for about a year at a time. I just bought a set of Beats headphones because I didn't like the little earbuds that came with it. The full-size headphones. I used them once to mow my yard with my riding mower. I set them down and then I lost them again. It was last fall, the last time I had mowed. My wife was out in the yard. My loving wife. Thank you, honey. She found my iPod. I'd set it down in a little tray or a pot for plants. This is the little rough edges that are there. I'm just using the hand stone to put the safety bevel onto the frame, and if I was smart I would have dried that off so I don't drop the slippery lens. But she found where I'd set it down at, and of course we got several inches of snow not too long ago, a few times, all the rain and everything else. So I'm going to wait a week until it dries off, and I'm going to see if my iPod works. The Beats did, and of course the batteries were dead, but alright, I tuck it in at the outside corner, push down at the nose, and it goes, and you can see that the curvature is the same on the frame. So pull that down, take the block off, remove that sticker. Let me darken that red dot. You will need to be able to see that later. In fact, I'll do it in just a second. Let me check the prescription. Spin the axis wheel to 174. You're a minus 275, minus 150, minus 275, minus 150 of astigmatism gives me 4 1/4. Now it's time to measure the pupillary distance. Hopefully this is wide enough for you to see. Pupillary distance is 64. When I put that on there, we are getting 64 millimeters. Perfect. Now I'm going to clean the dots off, and then I'm going to show you your transition lenses darkening from clear to dark. Dark, dark, get darker, darker. Alright, so they're clear now. That is your prescription. Weird, you get weird effects as I move that in front of the print there. So from clear, I'm going to put them into my transitions unit, which has just a strong UV light. And that's going to cause them to start getting darker. Now, all transition lenses get dark on day 1. Give them 2 weeks. They're going to continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks till they get to their final setting. It's just like a new employee on the job. You just got to train them for 2 weeks to get them right. Now, they will, after 2 weeks, they'll give you maximum performance for years with no problems. The only problem you will have with them, and transitions will not tell you this in the commercials, but they don't work in your car unless you have a convertible or a motorcycle. Your windshield absorbs all the sun's ultraviolet rays, so your upholstery doesn't rot and your dashboard doesn't crack from sitting in the sun. That's why they won't turn dark in a car. They'll get, unless you have a very old car. In the mid-90s, they started putting UV treatment in the windshields and side windows. Now, they do work best in cooler temperatures. Once it gets up into the 90s, and especially the upper 90s, they just don't get as dark as they do in the 70s and 80s and cooler than that. Now you can see how they've gone to dark. Now they were in there at an angle, so it looks gradient, where the top is darker than the bottom, but they are the same all over. So that's that. It takes about 30 to 45 seconds for them to darken. A little bit longer when you come back inside. 45 seconds to a minute 15 to return to clear, virtually clear. And other than that, it's a piece of cake. So if anyone has any questions, email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Chucky Chuck in Aruba, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to chase my American dream and provide these glasses for you. I hope it's been fun and entertaining watching your glasses being made. And this is how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you. Did you miss that? There you can see it now. You can see it. Thanks again, folks.